It is very important to prepare now, not tomorrow, not next week, not a month from now, not waiting for 2026 or the next president to come in or a savior to come. Now, listen to what I'm about to say. If you're the head of household, I'm going to show you something that I see very few people talking about. Very few people are talking about this. Trump is going to explode this economy. But there's something happening behind the scenes that most people aren't paying attention to. And you have to understand the macro and microeconomic impacts that are happening, where America stands right now. America is over 120% debt to income ratio. Since 1971, they have destroyed the purchasing power of America's dollar. The Federal Reserve is not federal, nor the reserve. And as Robert Kiyosaki and Ray Dalio have been preaching to you, cash is trash. And I'm going to show you deeper into the infrastructure. And I'm going to share with you what I believe is happening. Now, everything I'm telling you is things that I've done myself. And what it's done for my family is we've freed our family financially. We've created cash flow. And I say we become rich, not wealthy yet. Rich, you can mess up. Wealthy is when it's generational. But I believe truly in my heart of hearts that we have that opportunity right now. But I'm not going to sell you bullshit. I'm not going to sell you hype. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take rewiring your brain and the foundation to understand what inflationary is, deflationary, that there's only someone's asset and someone's liability. We need to understand the cash flow quadrant, richest man in Babylon, the wisdom of King Solomon. Because Jim Rohn says it the best. You give $1 million to every person in society, it's going to end right back in the 1%'s hands. What I'm going to show you today is something I see very few people talking about. Yes, Trump came in as the crypto capital of the world, the Bitcoin president. And he admitted that 3 years ago, he was starting to get involved in cryptocurrency. But remember, he told us that Bitcoin is used for money laundering. Larry Fink told us it's used for money laundering. Everybody was pushing us away from Bitcoin. Then they come back and something shifted in 2023 as Trump came back and had 4 years to mull this over, guys. 4 years. And when he came back, Larry Fink flipped in 2023. Trump flipped in 2023. His whole family started getting debanked in 2024. And I'm about to show you what is actually happening and how you can get a piece of that pie. Okay. So Trump came back, ran as the Bitcoin president, the crypto capital of the world. And what happened recently? They pushed hard to get the Genius Act passed, which is going to tokenize all treasuries, stable coin. Write down the word stable coin. Well, what do stable coins use? US treasuries. What were people not buying anymore? US treasuries. They had a bond auction. Nobody showed up. People were dumping US treasuries. Maybe that's why it's called the Genius Act. It was one of the most genius moves that Trump could have made. Created a Genius Act, and now he has the fastest growing stable coin USD1 in history. So let's break down the infrastructure all the way down to what I'm going to believe in my heart of hearts it's going to happen. But I want to tell you this right now. You cannot believe or don't believe and don't get caught in the hype that you're going to become a multimillionaire in the next 3 months. Put your brain to 2030. Reverse engineer. Set a goal. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a multimillionaire. And you find out and you study what assets could get you there. And you reverse engineer to the daily activities you need to do. Cash flow, deflationary assets, protection and leverage. And then you stick to the plan. And you stick to it the next 5 years, you will free your family financially. That's what I did, guys. So let me break down something that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. But first, we got some news to talk about. So the Trump family is taking over, and I'm going to break this all down for you guys. They're dismantling the central bank, and they're bringing you into decentralization, but they own the system now, guys. Just in Trump Media, crypto.com, and Yorkville are launching a 6.42 billion CRO treasury, taking over 19% of the supply. Here's an announcement from crypto.com. Trump Media confirms 2 billion Bitcoin treasury, 300 million option strategy in Q2 2025 earnings report. They are the number 8 holder in their Bitcoin treasury. Trump Media now owns 19% of the supply of crypto.com. They are the number 8 holder in Bitcoin treasuries in the world right now. Let's continue on here. Okay. Just in, Canary Capital files an S1 launch to launch a Trump coin ETF. Okay. This is kind of cool. I just want to throw this in there. I'm a big XRP fan. Gemini passes Coinbase on US iOS app following the launch of the XRP MasterCard. Okay, so now this is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty. I'd love to hear your feedback down below. We're all learning together. This is my logic connecting all the dots. This is how I make my investments. I don't do it off hype. I don't do it off price predictions. I'm not trying to wait for XRP to go to a certain percentage. I literally accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. I have exit targets on the way up and I calmly exit. I don't care about the bull run. I do care about the bear market. I do care about red because that's where we got wealthy. I would say rich. Wealthy's coming the next bull run. Okay. We got rich because we bought when it was red because we understand what we hold. Okay. So this is the Genius Act right here. Okay. So if you're not familiar with this, this is a President Donald Trump signs the Genius Act into law. Okay. The long overdue legislation creates the first ever federal regulatory system for stable coins, ensuring their stability and trust. Okay. Ensuring their stability and trust through strong reserve requirements. What are those reserve requirements, guys? Treasuries. Nobody's buying treasuries. So they're like, let's create stable coins. Stable coins use short duration treasuries. If you just study stable coins, what are they stable? They use treasuries. So Scott Bessent's like, yes, let's go. Stable coin act. Let's start getting these people buying treasuries. And I'm going to show you as well. Bo Hines stepped down, but what did he go work for, guys? Tether. I'm going to show you a video what he's working to do. Bring Tether to the United States. You have USD1, Trump's fastest growing stablecoin. You have RLUSD, Ripple's stablecoin. You're going to have Tether coming in to take the #1 spot in America. But here's the thing with Trump. You think that he's going to be upset at Bo Hines doing that? No, he loves competition. So why would Bo Hines be bringing Tether into America? Because they're going to buy a ton of treasuries, guys. They have to sell debt. There's no money in the system. Robert Kiyosaki's been shouting from the mountaintops about this. There's no money in the system. Why do you think the third richest person in Mexico is 70% Bitcoin? Why do you think Ray Dalio flipped on us and is like, I'm going into Bitcoin? Why do you think Larry Fink flipped on you and is a massive #2 holder through the ETF in Bitcoin? Why do you think the Trump family is #8 in their treasury in Bitcoin? Okay. So how do stablecoins work? Stablecoins may be pegged to a currency like the US dollar or a price of a commodity such as gold. So they're pegged to the US dollar. They purchase treasuries to make it stable. Now, just to be very clear, there's a lot of great questions out there is what is a stable coin, right? It's so people like, should I go invest in USD1? USD1 would be, let me give you an example. So say you profit from XRP, you pull profits, you can put it in USD1, USDC, you can put it in RLUSD. We have options now. We have all these options where we can store our wealth. It's just a stable coin. That's all it is. It'll show a dollar. Okay. It's supposed to stay stable backed by the dollar. Now, somebody asked a great question on a Warrior Call yesterday. Well, isn't it still unstable because the value? Well, it's backed to dollar, but your purchasing power is still getting eroded, right? So if I take a stable coin and I transfer it into my bank account cash, or maybe a car dealership allows you to use a stable coin in the future, but at some point I need to get into the cash to buy the thing. So if a Toyota Tacoma, the price keeps going up, it doesn't matter if it's a dollar, the purchasing power gets eroded. That's why wealthy store in assets. If you don't put your money in assets, you're going to become poor. Okay. That's why all these big elites are going into assets with fixed supply, because we're going to go into hyperinflation by 2029. You can't keep this. At some point, the system has to change, guys. You got to start to study this stuff. You got to position yourself for a inflationary environment that's going to destroy the middle class. Okay, so let's go into this a little bit deeper here. So now we got on Monday the World Liberty Financial Token that's launching. So Trump not only became the top USD1 stablecoin. Okay, this is his company right here, guys. Look at this. You got Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Barron Trump, the Witkoffs. Go study the Witkoff family. Okay, they have their own system here. Okay, you take a look at their products, right? They got USD1. They have their World Liberty Financial Token locking on Monday that everybody's talking about. Okay, now that's their token. The utility is their World Liberty Financial DeFi platform. So Trump is bringing in decentralization, but now they're positioning it where they own the system. Trump has his own banking system now. He has his own stable coin now. The Trump media is taking over through the Treasury. They own 19 supply. They bought 19% of the supply through the treasury of crypto.com. Okay. You got BlackRock connected to Circle, and Aladdin's connected to Coinbase, sophisticated trading platform. Okay. Now we got Tether. Let's go a little bit further here. Okay. I want to give you guys all the details. Now we got Tether. So Bo Hines, who is connected to Trump, stepped down all of a sudden and then went over to Tether. And let's listen to what he wants to do here in America. Remember, Tether's a foreign company, a foreign stable coin, and he wants to bring it to America. They're going to take over. Okay. They're going to bring all the stable coins. They're working to got RLUSD. Ripple's going to dominate. You got USD1. You're going to have Tether in America now, and they're going to stabilize our economy by buying US treasuries.
I'd be lying if I didn't say we want to dominate. I think that entering the US market, we feel as if, again, we're uniquely positioned to be the stalwart in space. And that's what attracted me to Tether. I wanted to go somewhere I could build, have fun, and obviously work with the most intelligent and brightest people. And I feel like I found a home here at Tether to do that. We'll be moving quickly. And I know Paolo's indicated, we're obviously considering the US product. We'll see in time what that looks like. We'll be ready to reveal that in due time. But, my mission is to be the number one player in this space as well, to match what they're doing and with the rest of the globe. And I think that we're going to get that done. I think we're going to move quickly to get it done. And I think that it's really exciting, not only for our country, but for the rest of the space. And, I'll go back to your question you asked, Paolo, about some of the other players. I think that many of these players are positioned in a way that they're almost cannibalizing themselves. And I think that our mission here is, one, to educate other people and to bring more people into the ecosystem, because that's better for everyone and we can grow all together as we do that. And so, you'll see some of the initiatives that we push are keenly focused on doing just that. And just, rising tides raise all ships. I do believe that. I just want to be the leader of those ships. And I think that we're going to accomplish that.
Okay, so now you got Tether coming to America. They got Bo Hines connected to Trump, bringing Tether in. RLUSD, Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse is hanging out at the White House. You got USD1, Trump stablecoin. Okay, and I've been teaching you about Howard Lutnick. This is the Commerce Secretary for America, guys. This is our Commerce Secretary for America. Every time Trump is speaking, Howard Lutnick, is right next to him. This guy is going to be a billionaire in Bitcoin on the back end of this year. Cantor, his son, I think Brandon Lutnick, runs Cantor. This is their company. They give loans to cryptocurrency banks, guys. What Trump did is he set up his cabinet. They set up their decentralized bank. They got their stable coin in place, and you're going to see the infrastructural change for the next 100 years, the new financial system, which is going to be tokenized, which is going to be through a stable coin, which is eventually going to be asset backed, which I believe it's going to be through something like Bitcoin or gold, right? I still think you're going to see a revaluation of gold. They're going to move that in a budget neutral way, some of the profits into Bitcoin, which is going to shrink the balance sheet, like Cynthia Loomis said, in half by 2025. Okay, now this is all my guessing, but I guessed this from 2020 to 2025, and it freed my family financially. Now from 2025 to 2030, I'm going all in, and I'll explain to you exactly what I'm doing after we listen to this video.
If the regulatory environment was good, you will see all the traditional financial service companies, the big banks, the big brokerage companies, they're all going to go headfirst into Bitcoin pond. That's what's going to happen, and it's coming. And when that happens, you're going to see Bitcoin move in a very, very strong, positive direction. So that's why I'm a fan of Bitcoin. It's going to go much higher. It always bounces around like any other financial asset, but ultimately over the next 5 years, as it gets invited into this party, up we go.
Okay. That's not just some guy, some CEO of a company. That's your commerce secretary for America. So you can either listen to some YouTuber, me, or on the internet, or you can listen to the cabinet and what they're doing. They worked really fast to get the Genius Act passed because they got on stable coins, protecting the US dollar so it wouldn't completely, it was running off of a cliff, guys. Now, I'm sure there'll be a lot of comments under this video. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent, guys. We're going into programmable money. Is that a good thing? I don't know, man. They're monitoring this shit now. They're probably watching this video right now. But what I do know is I'm not going to sit back on my hands as the head of the household and let these people, let this system take all of my buying power, because they're about to print the living shit out of your dollar in a low interest rate environment. And what goes up must come down. You can't just print in a low interest rate environment and not have hyperinflation. It is going to be unaffordable by 2029 to own a home. So if you're not on the asset side and you're sitting in the deflate or inflationary cash side, you're going to become poor 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. Now you're going to feel richer because you're going to be like, oh, they lowered interest rates. Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you. I can monetize more debt. I can make myself poorer. I can take away from my future family. I can buy another ATV. I can buy another motorhome. I can buy another Camaro. No, no, you're not. You're not going to buy that stuff until you have assets that can pay for those liabilities. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take studying the richest man in Babylon, cash flow quadrant, the wisdom of King Solomon. It's going to take you studying how to get into assets and understand we're all in the leverage game. It's just that the wealthy are using leverage to get rich, and the working class is using leverage to become poor. The system was designed to keep you in a debt enslavement trap. You have to break free from that. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to sell you some get rich quick. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take dedication. It's going to take saying no, 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 until you can say yes, because the asset can pay for the liability. So your family's going to have to buckle down. They're going to have to create a budget. They're going to have to study together. And once you rewire the foundation, you got to teach your kids. My daughter's an investor now. She's 21. She has her portfolio rocking. She has her insurance rocking. She's getting her dividends rocking. I will never put my daughter in a situation where she has to answer to another person and trade time for money. So yes, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. So here's exactly what I do. Bitcoin, we're not selling it. I'm stacking it every single day. I buy Bitcoin and XRP every single day. Okay. We're putting Bitcoin off to the side. We're going to put that in leverage. Okay. Jesus. Give me 1 second. I'm too excited here. Let me check my mic. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. There we go. Okay. Let's get back on. So we got 4 components. Let's walk through this together. Write them down. Cash flow. Cash is trash. We move cash flow into deflationary assets here. Coach JV's ecosystem. I use XRP and Bitcoin as deflationary assets. What I mean by that is fixed supplies. I'm moving my cash, which is trash, into fixed supply assets that are going to grow over time. I use cash value life insurance for protection. I love to insure my money, and I love the fact that I can create my own family bank. Then we have the leverage component over here. Remember Bitcoin right here? We put Bitcoin into the leverage category. So let's move Bitcoin in the leverage category and let's never touch it. Okay. So we'll get back to that. So what I do personally is and a lot of people comment on Twitter like, was this easy for you, JV? I said something about, men, you need to stop waiting for price predictions and work on cash flow. I lost everything in 2020. They took away my business. So I went through all of this. I had my crypto portfolio. I had $30,000 in crypto. That was it in 2020. I'm like, no, I'm not selling my crypto. So I started flipping stuff on Facebook. I followed the Gary Vee thing, the flip challenge. I started getting free stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And I started making money out of nothing, right? I would clean up people's yards. I was doing anything I could when they shut down my business to get cash. And what I did is I put it in XRP. But I started accumulating, and my portfolio got bigger and bigger and bigger. With 30 went to 6 figures, and the rest is history. But what I didn't do is, when I profited in the bull run, is I didn't buy Lambos, I didn't buy houses, I didn't buy watches, I didn't flex on people. I built businesses. Okay. We now own 6 companies. 3 are in profit, 2 are in heavy profit. Third one is right to head into heavy profit. We built 2 7-figure ecosystems. Just to walk you guys through, people asked me the other day, I said, I own businesses in education. I have 3T Warrior Academy. I have Refined Integrity, a men's program. I have Freedom Insurance. I own an insurance brokerage. We have Freedom Insurance, Freedom Insurance, 3T Warrior Academy, Refine Integrity. We have a podcast company. We have a Merlin, smartest way to track your crypto, which is we have a what do you call it? A company that makes apps, right? So we have many different companies. That's what we did. We took our money and we all invested in building ecosystems. So that created cash flow. Okay. When I started creating cash flow, I didn't buy stuff. My bills are almost exactly the same from when I bought my first home, got back on my feet, got my home for my first home, my home for my kids when we got back on our feet, and my bills have stayed exactly the same. So my income kept increasing. In the bear market, with the income increase, I kept investing, stacking. Then I started getting into cash flowing dividends. So I have multiple cash flow components, okay, for my businesses, cash flowing dividends. So when the cash comes in, we make the decisions. I move them over to deflationary assets like XRP and Bitcoin. My top three are XRP, Bitcoin, and Solana. Okay. So every time I get paid, I put it into more cash flowing dividends, and then I put it into deflationary assets if the markets are down. Every day I dollar cost average into XRP and Bitcoin. I store my wealth in those two assets. Every month I pump money into my life insurance premium. So every single month, my family bank is getting bigger. We have the cost of insurance, and on top of that is going into the cash value. And then when these appreciate, which we're about to go into the massive appreciation in the back end this year, what do? I pull profits. Okay, remember Bitcoin's over here. From altcoins, I pull profits and I stuff it into my cash value life insurance max funding. Then what does that do? It creates another leverage component. So now I have two leverage components. I have a Bitcoin bank and I have a family bank on my insurance side. I give you the specific example. I borrowed from my Bitcoin, low leverage, to buy my insurance brokerage. I moved out of an IMO into first position. We have our own firm now. I bought the firm, making sure it had cash flow, paying it off. It'll be paid off in April. And I bought a firm for free and I made 36% on my money because Bitcoin grows 50% every year. I beat the hurdle rate. How did I learn this? I studied Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Cash Flow Quadrant. I studied methodically because I wasn't born in wealth, guys. This wasn't something that I understood. And so I had to learn it. I'm the first person in my family to be the generational shifter. And if you're watching this, that's who you are. You're probably not from the Trump family. You're probably not from the Rockefellers. And you wouldn't be watching this if you were probably a multimillionaire or a billionaire, right? So we all started at the same place. We're all just at different places. Our souls at different experiences right now. And you can do this. I started very small. I built the infrastructure. I filled the buckets. Now we got financially free and what I consider rich. Okay. I could mess this up, but I'm not going to. The next 5 years is wealthy. Okay. So you're in your first learning phase bull run. Okay. Your second bull run will be where I'm at. And then beyond that, you're now the one going to be teaching the next generation. That's just how it works. I have specific examples of people who've been running me since 2020. Some are multimillionaires. A lot are millionaires now, right? But a lot of people fell off because they didn't rewire the foundation. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Sorry about the microphone thing. I do things live here. I don't ever edit my videos, but let's get after it. Let's go out there. If you need any help, there's resources down below in the description of this video or my social media platform. We have a whole ecosystem. I have a free section on this YouTube channel as well. I just like to tell you exactly what I'm doing. Like I said, it's not financial advice. I just share with you what I'm doing, and I'll never share with you something I'm not doing myself. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Love you guys.